Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices that we have allowed for our platform, this mic to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live episode, this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the constituent, the voter, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. Now, if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, well, we ask that you subscribe to our social media platforms. Currently, we are streaming this program live on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. You could find us under Frankie Olivo. You could follow my personal page under Olivo Frankie on Facebook. More importantly, if you haven't already, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on, rain or shine, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m., a little bit after 9, religiously. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. Remember, Brownsville, we will not be silenced. And always remember, we are thankful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you provide us each time we come before you. Thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Tuesday. I hope we've had a great start to our week. It seems as if this week is going to be very, very busy moving forward. Yesterday, we did have something very, very important happen that is ultimately going to could potentially affect uh, our lives. We here in the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, South Texas, we are already feeling the pinch, so to speak. Whenever we talk about how expensive life is, you and I can agree. Rent is through the roof. At one point, many people were arguing, hey, even affording eggs, even buying eggs is getting out of hand. Gasoline was through the roof. Many people attribute it to the previous administration at the White House. And maybe that's why people wanted change. Maybe that's why people voted red, because it came to a point to where they say, hey, we can't manage no more. Our quality of life is changing day in and day out. You and I can agree that life is not what it once was. We hear of stories of how our family members used to go to the theaters with $1, with a quarter. And we hear of those times and we understand that inflation has taken its toll. Here in Brownsville, many people complain of being stretched from everywhere, from all aspects, whether that's taxes, whether that's increase in rent, higher gas prices, groceries. You and I can agree, life for many of us just isn't what it once was. Heck, did you travel this summer? Haven't we felt as if our lives have changed? The economy in recent time is bad. We don't have the fortune anymore of splurging in luxury. I remember growing up, we would go to San Antonio. We would go to Las Cruces, New Mexico to go to the snow and go down the slope and go down the sand. We would travel to Disneyland. Life at one time was affordable. You and I can agree. Let's not go that far. Even those at the island, we are starting to see a dip in tourism. And you're talking an area that usually sees anywhere from 8 to 10 million people, visitors, frequent South Padre. What has changed? Everything. Everything, ladies and gentlemen, is getting expensive. Yesterday or this morning, I had a friend reach out to me in regards to the topic that we are going to discuss today. And he said, hey, man, we should go out to eat. And he said, you know what? I haven't gone out to eat in a while. The portions aren't the same. It seems as if even the business owners, the products that we are used to consuming, now we are being given smaller portions. Stripes, hot dogs, tacos, burritos, they've all changed. Ya no saben igual. Why is it? Because the economy is not doing well. When we think of our jobs, what's happening in the market? AI is taking over, artificial intelligence. There are reports, El Toker, that by 2030, UPS, FedEx, even the Amazon workers, they're all going to get replaced by robots. If you haven't heard already, technology eventually will drop off your groceries with a drone. Will drop off that package, that Amazon package, with a drone. There are talks of even 18-wheelers being automatically driven. Can you picture that life? Well, that is the future, ladies and gentlemen. And who feels that pinch? Us middle class. We are feeling the pinch from everywhere. And then, to top it off, we have teenagers that are expensive. When we think about our lives growing up, I like to think of myself as being modest growing up. I always had clothes. I always had designer shoes, designer clothes. I always had the necessities. But now the teenagers, they want a car, they want a cell phone, and those things don't come cheap. You could probably understand what I'm talking about. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about something that is going to affect your pocketbooks moving forward. Yesterday, at a special call board meeting, ladies and gentlemen, there was a vote that eventually could potentially increase your taxes. We titled today's program, Do We Really Need a Tax Increase? Aren't we stretched thin already? We got to pay property taxes. We got to pay taxes on our business. We got to pay taxes on this, taxes on that. Our story for in 2 weeks, let me get the official date. On September the 1st, we're going to talk about our PUB rates, utility bills going up. We never see the end of it. It seems as if every government entity, their solution is just tax them, increase the taxes, no hay pedo. Let them foot the bill. Don't they see what we're dealing with? No los ven, no nos ven que estamos como patas de ahogado. Many of us, we live paycheck to paycheck. We are part of that 98, 97% that are struggling. Where every decision that these politicians, these elected leaders make affects our quality of life moving forward. So for these next few weeks, we'll be talking about elected officials increasing your taxes. How do you feel about that? Are you okay with that? Yesterday, we talked about the possibility of that happening. Yesterday, after yesterday's meeting, now that possibility increased even more. And people ask me, is there something that we can do? Yes, there is something that we can do. During a special call board meeting yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, the board did meet and they did approve an agenda item which read consideration and approval of an order calling for a bond election to be held by the Brownsville Independent School District, making provisions for the joint election and resolving other matters incident and related to such election. The bond election is scheduled for Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. What we saw yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, was daunting for me. We saw that the board, in a 5-2 vote, voted for a bond of close to $500 million to be placed on the ballot for you, the voter, to decide in November. Now, what is interesting from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are people that are supporters of this. And again, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to make it very clear. We do want the very best for our children. You and I can agree that we always want to give them what we didn't have. And it seems as if, los chiflamos. Que no sufre, mijo, mija. Why? Because we know the struggle. Sometimes times were tough. We didn't eat some days. Some days we splurged because we had to take advantage. Maybe there are listeners out there that could relate to this, that, hey, some days we grew hungry. Mom and Pop did what they could, pero pues no había. And we live with that fear. And what do? We spoil our children. We give them everything. We say, I didn't have this, and I want you to have the life I didn't. Enjoy it. Now it's your turn, child. Mijo, mija. You do even better than what I did. That's our expectations, right? Supporters, ladies and gentlemen, supporters of this property tax increase of close to $500 million, billion with a B. Supporters of the school district increasing of taxes for a performing arts center and to improve school facilities, roofs, HVACs. They see this as a direct investment in the education of children, of their development, of their future. Many people are making the argument that, hey, we want them to have a better learning environment. We want to update the classrooms. We want to make the building safer, more comfortable, modern. We want to upgrade these facilities possibly with new technology, with better cooling and heating system, because this ultimately will directly improve their daily learning. Proponents of a performing arts center, they state that this is an investment in the arts and overall a well-rounded education. Why? Because a performing arts center, it gives students access to the arts, to music, to dance, drama, to a stage. Maybe they learn how to produce. a theater. These areas, for the most part, are usually underfunded. When we think of art education, it is linked to, it could help improve their academia performance, higher grade rates. It builds stronger social and emotional skills. It could boost a child's creativity and confidence. Many people could potentially see a performing arts center, improved facilities, buildings, as having pride within the community, as being involved, saying, you know what, I'm willing to pay a little bit more to give these children a better education. New facilities, they often serve as community hubs for events, shows, meetings, conferences. It fosters maybe community engagement, local pride in our local school district. When we talk about the long-term effects, it will benefit our need to increase, to boost our student enrollment that we have seen and talked about previously, how it's slowly declining. In its heyday, from what I remember, possibly going back 10 years, when I started following BISD, in its heyday, it was at 50,000 students. Right now, we are at mid-30s. We also could make the argument that there is a need to modernize. Some schools, they're old, they're falling apart. They could potentially be safety hazards, mold, outdated wiring, poor security. Parents, they could support this tax increase if the upgrades are seen as urgent or long overdue. Parents, ladies and gentlemen, are more likely to support tax increases when the purpose is clearly communicated, where there is transparency, where the district has a track record of managing funds well, where the benefits are equitable for every child, not just singling this out. That is what most parents feel. You know what? I could support this if I had better information, if the board was more transparent, if the board had a track record of managing funds well. Board members, they did state openly that the community should not feel like this is a burden being placed on them by them voting to have this on the ballot to potentially increase our property taxes. It's not a burden, but rather an investment into our children's future. And when we talk about the numbers, again, when we talk about the numbers for Proposition 1, Proposition 2, Proposition 1 was the facilities, maintenance. They calculated that of $385 million. Proposition 2 was estimated at $50 million. Proposition 2 was or is the Performing Arts Center. But when it come down to it, they say, no. If we go for this, we're going to go big. We're going to go for the jugular. Es como dice el compadre, mira, compadre, vamos a sacar una trocona del año y me voy a entracalar. I always make fun of my friends because my friends say, oh, I'm going to get the new Denali, the new GMC, the 2026, and I don't care if it's 80,000, 90,000. I'm already in debt. What the heck? We possibly have heard that, right? We're already in debt, might as well. Well, that's what the school district did yesterday, because they calculated for the Performing Arts Center, Proposition 2, to be roughly $50 million. And they said, ya lo tenemos ganchados. We got the sucker, a sucker is born every minute. What's another 20 million? So now, ladies and gentlemen, the board wants to go for the jugular. Mingo Patty, pues might as well, ¿verdad? We're already waist deep. What's a little bit more? We're already $385 million in the hole. What's another 20 million? No pasa nada, raza. It's okay. Al cabo, tú ni pagas taxes, Frankie. Chingo. You don't care. The board, in a 5-2 vote, voted for a performing arts center of 1,800 seat building, which is going to come out to $75 million. What was interesting to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the contractors, engineers, they're going to get a 6% lowball, a 6 to 8% cut right off the bat. And when you do the math, they did it last night at the board meeting. When they do the math of $460 million times 0.06, it comes out to 26, 27, 28. Let's round it off to $30 million. The vendors are salivating right now. Wouldn't you? For 30 million? I'd do a lot for 30 million, Chico. So just imagine, just off the top, they're going to get the money en fregazo. So there is a lot of pressure from parents who want a better quality of life, who want, mi hijito deserves it, mi hijito deserves it. Who are the vendors? Pues hay para aventar para arriba. There's too many to name. I'll get on it, but there's so much. They're going to start taking bids, and here they already have who's going to do the HVACs. It's funny because they formed a committee, Toker. They formed a committee to go look at these buildings and assess. And then somebody told me, you do know that the wife of the owner of the HVAC is a community member, and she's going to say, see, we need new HVACs. What a coincidence. There's no coincidence in life, ladies and gentlemen. There are no coincidences in life. And many people have stated, why do we need a performing arts center? When the students come out of school, they can't even read. They don't even know how to write properly. Students come out of high school, Muñoz, without knowing how to read and write, but we need a performing arts center. People están hasta la. Muñoz is saying we are fed up with an increase in property taxes. Now, again, before I already got flack yesterday, and it comes with the territory. I know. I understand. I've learned to accept it. But why are you so negative, Frankie? All you do is just, can't you say something positive, please? Like, come on, man. But why are we so skeptical, ladies and gentlemen? Why do we need more an increase in taxes? Why are residents of Brownsville, of South Texas, why are we skeptical? residents of Brownsville, Texas, often express skepticism and even outright frustration when property taxes rise because of the corruption that plays a role in fueling the community's sentiment. How are we here in the city of Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen? How are we? Somebody sent me a message. Luego they want to make a river walk. No way. They have money for they can have that money for fixing the streets. It's true. You make a very good point. It's all about priorities, right? Thank you for your message. What's our viewership? We got 180 people live. Awesome. But why is there so many skepticism here in Brownsville? Yesterday, I told somebody, they said, "Oh, Frankie, you're being negative and this and this, that." I'm like, do you really want to give politicians $400 million? Really? What about here, the city of Brownsville? Poverty is high, incomes are low. Brownsville consistently ranks among the poorest cities in the United States. The median household income is just over $25,000. And more than 30% of our population, we live below the poverty level. Heavy burdens on residents. Property tax increase, they hurt us. We're already struggling as a family, and it hurts us particularly even more. We can't afford this. Questions about fairness and transparency. Online discussions. Locals have voiced concerns over, fairness. I quote, "County officials just charge you whatever the heck they feel, coming up with insane valuations just because they think that people won't fight back when it comes to property taxes. People get exempt because it benefits certain people. Others point to downtown properties owned by public officials or their families. They are tax exempt. They get their infrastructures upgraded, and they benefit from it." But what it all boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, is real concerns of corruption, past and present. Let's talk about this. Erasmo Castro broke a story and revealed that former mayor Trey Mendez and a former city official, Ramiro Gonzalez, working for the city, applied for grants benefiting properties they themselves owned through a newly formed LLC, a clear conflict of interest. Juan Montoya, the blog father, he wrote back in 2021, Browntown city mayors are sordid record of self-dealing. I'm not making this up. This is a black eye that the city has. The Rio Grande Valley, including Brownsville, has long been perceived as an epicenter of local corruption. While not all allegations are specific to Brownsville, they shape a broader atmosphere of skepticism towards public officials when they want to increase their taxes. And again, what have we seen, ladies and gentlemen? What has history shown us? Why do we feel this way? We're tormented. We've been battered as citizens. We have a domestic violence relationship with our elected officials. We are used and abused. And then they laugh at us and hug us and kiss us. "I love you, no te creas." Eres pobre y te vas a permanecer pobre, pero I love you. Vote for me. Criticism of tax hikes, ladies and gentlemen, is not always about opposing taxation in general. Many people, they do support taxes for essential services, but luxury. The backlash usually centers on how much is being asked. $500 million in our case. Who's being asked to pay? Los pobretones de nosotros. We live paycheck to paycheck. And whether the money will be used effectively. Again, what has history shown us? History, ladies and gentlemen, has not been kind to the city of Brownsville, unfortunately. Good morning, Representative Lopez. Thank you so much for tuning in, ma'am. I really appreciate your time. No more taxes. Get the word out. We need tax cuts, not increases. Amen, sister. Our representative goes on to say, we keep giving tax cuts at the state level in the school district taxes, yet local officials keep hiking them. Vote no. Thank you so much, Janie Lopez, our representative for House District 37. Thank you so much for tuning in, ma'am. I really appreciate your time. This is someone that deals with this on a daily basis, and she's a former school board member. She's very well informed of this issue. She had to deal with it as a school board member, and now she's dealing with this on a daily basis in Austin. Thank you so much for for jumping on, Representative Lopez. Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Tucker goes on to say, we're not poor, we just don't have any money. We're embarrassed millionaires who don't have a million yet. Hey, I like your thinking. I like your thinking. No, dice corruption, se dice overhead costs. Perdón. My bad. Because we're a republic, quote unquote. Rodriguez states, I am positive that this will be another failure of BISD. Again, Rodriguez, let's look at our past. Why are the citizens of Brownsville so skeptical of this? What happened to Tenasca? Who could forget Tenasca? Where the Brownsville Public Utility Board, they partnered with Tenasca to build a power plant aimed at providing electricity, securing a natural gas supply, and generating revenue through wastewater reuse. But what did we see? We saw that this project failed. It was terminated in February of 2020 because of the changing market conditions made it more economical for utilities to buy energy on the open market instead of investing in a new plant. And what were the ramifications of this? Citizens of Brownsville, my community, what happened? There was an impact to us, the customers. We saw our electric rates rise by over 40% over 4 years to fund PUB's share of the project. An audit of this later revealed that PUB and former city officials intentionally, and I want to state this, bring me on, intentionally withheld crucial information from the public and city officials, leading to unnecessary rate hikes and project expenditures. Whenever we're in a relationship and we're mean to our spouse, we cheat on them, we abuse them physically, mentally, emotionally, our partner, whoever it is, we're scarred for life. We're always going to have that in the back of our mind. You son of a gun. I will never trust you again. Do you see why we're skeptical of this, ladies and gentlemen? Because we've been lied to. We're promised the moon. We're promised the stars. Huge. Huge. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. What has history shown us, Mingo Patty? History has shown us that there's a lot of corruption. History has shown us that we can't trust our elected officials. And this isn't me making this up. This isn't Frankie, throwing stuff at the wall, how I'm always criticized. Nah, man, wait, tú eres bien negative. All you do is bash people. No. We inform our community of what's to come. Knowledge, in my opinion, knowledge is very powerful. Our program gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Something that KRGV, Channel 4, those major news stations, they just can't touch because of their affiliations to these government entities. But we give you the whole enchilada. The black and the white. We stay away from the gray area. Our job, again, we've said this before and we continue to say this. My job isn't to convince you. My job is to give you the information. What you decide to do with that information is out of my hands, ladies and gentlemen. Is out of my hands. What bothers me about this, ladies and gentlemen, of this 5-2 vote yesterday, it seems as if, again, we're all for giving the children the best. We want to give them what we didn't have. My parents, my family gave me every opportunity to be successful. And I'm thankful for that. And I will do my very best with my children, with my brothers. I'm going to give them everything. But also, I have to understand that I have a budget. I have to understand that I have to live within my means. I want that convertible 2026. I want that Denali, the $80,000 truck, but I can't afford it. Soy un pobretón. Lo único que me puedo conseguir es una carcacha, paso a pasito. I have to understand that, hey, I can't eat steaks every day. Un sándwich aquí allá, una marucha, un stripes burrito. What bothers me is that these board members, it seems as if they're not, I don't know, what's the word? What's the phrase? Reading the room? What did we see recently, ladies and gentlemen? Maruchan. Hey, soy pobre, Silvia. A veces sí, cuando se puede, se come bien. A veces. De vez en cuando. Cada Christmas nomás. What have we learned, ladies and gentlemen? What did the community recently vote on? Remember the county arena? This arena, which was proposed to be built in northern Brownsville, in the Olmito area, it would have served as a venue for different events. This was on the ballot, ladies and gentlemen, not once, not twice, but 3 times. It was rejected by the community 3 times. As of recent, in May of this year, 2025, the county stated that they were going to spend $150 million on the construction of this venue, while they worded in a way where it wasn't going to be paid directly by the property owners. Eventually, the owners of the property were going to feel the effects of it, because whenever a venue is built, what does that do to the property values? It increases the property values. So essentially, the citizens have to pay more. They didn't word it that way. They said, oh, no, this is going to be from the hot tax sales from tourism. So it's not going to be paid for by the residents, by the community members. Essentially, eventually, it would have in some way or another, because us, the residents, the voters, we're going to see 233 people on. Woo! We're going to see that pinch. You make a very interesting point, Pedraza. The children have done well without a performing arts center. Having a secured home is more important than having a performing arts center. Are our children suffering right now? Are our children not able to participate in dance, theater, arts, band because we don't have a performing arts center? We have an event center. We have the TSC music hall. Again, I don't want to sound ugly. I don't want to be negative, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. People have been criticizing our program because we're very critical. We're negative. Ya, güey, párale, güey. Fastidia, gato. Our children, ladies and gentlemen, our children have a very good life. Can we improve their academia experience? 100%. There always is room for improvement. Yes. But we also shouldn't teach them for them to splurge. We also shouldn't lead by example and say, pues we can't afford it, so might as well nos vamos a entracalar. No. Let's buy what we could afford. I was very privileged as a kid. I'm the first grandchild. They spoiled the heck out of me. But it came a point where Franquito couldn't manage a Dodge Neon. Franquito couldn't manage a Chevy Camaro. Franquito couldn't manage a GMC Denali truck. My family said, hey, wait, bro, we're giving you the tools to succeed. Y no puedes con lo que tienes. Y quieres más, Franquito. My family cut me off. Eventually, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know what Franquito did? Franquito learned to live within his means. Franquito, when I asked my family, pues no me completa para el Corvette. Me dijo, pues te fregaste, mijo. Compre lo que pueda. No! It's a hard lesson, but it's a lesson I'm very grateful that I learned, because now I appreciate, now I value. And it's hard to say, Frankie, that's a bad analogy. These are kids. They're not, aware and stuff. But it's the board members. It's those leaders that are making these decisions, ladies and gentlemen. We have our representative stating, what did she say? No more taxes, she said. But something else I want to... She said that they're trying to cut taxes at the state level. And here we have local politicians. Look what she says. We keep giving tax cuts at the state level for the school district year in and year out, yet the local officials, they keep hiking them. Ladies and gentlemen, our job here isn't to be negative. Our job here is to be real. I'm not a popular person because of what our program has been after, the stories that we have been producing for you. And as long as you let me, Brownsville, I'll continue to come on here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. We need to be honest with ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. We can't afford this. You mean to tell me that one of the poorest areas in all of the United States is asking the voters with a median average salary of $24,000 to $30,000 for a property tax increase of $500 million with a B dollars? My goodness. Read the room, Raza. Read the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you the question, do we really need another tax increase? Aren't we being stretched thin already? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Peace!